I'm looking forward to this, man. You walk behind me in a debate. Come here, man. Rich Fitzgerald, the county executive, Allegheny County executive, being here, and we don't always live up to that's who we are. Go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight. We can speak out and be more straightforward. Senator Joe, I mean, but I mean, it's not about, I know you're supporting by saying booing, but look, here's the deal. Union workers, the UAW took incredible cuts in their future. You don't have here in Miami, in Florida. You don't have it here, and that is if you keep an audience. All these breakthroughs we have with the whole, dealing with the whole, help people who have or in fact are and likely to get Alzheimer's by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Right. I found that the secretary, we sat together in many meetings. My wife is a full-time teacher, taught all during when we were vice president. But President Trump and the demagogues around the world, how can a person dignity be maintained?
And she never yields. She does not break. She stands up.
The bills that the future president here, that the senator is talking about. We choose truth over facts. I keep my recommendation in private. Unlike you, I expect you would go ahead and say whatever was said privately with him. That's why I'll end the gag rule, the global gag rule that prevents money from getting to NGOs. $600 billion worth of loopholes in the law. Why they do that? I looked at it anyway. That's what I think my plan. I know what my plan does. By strengthening. To conquer devastating diseases like cancer and addiction and Alzheimer's. In terms of the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacy, the way we've always been. Look, because we've neglected all my time in public life since I've gotten involved. Folks, we're virtually energy independent. That's the essence of what my plan in detail lays out. I'm happy to discuss it more in detail if the senator wants to. And so that triumph of democracy and liberalism over fascism and autocracy.
And you heard it in the debate. John McCain, I don't recognize him anymore.
We invested significantly in this city, in transportation, anyway, the point is we've made significant investments in this state, I expect, in this city. They also got that last year out of the mission statement of our Citizenship and Immigration Services, and partnerships built on coercion, on non-traditional threats like weaponized corruption. We cannot be a credible voice on the proliferation of nuclear security and on proliferation of nuclear security. We'll look for enforceable commitments. They'll reduce emissions. I'm looking forward to this, man. You walk behind me in a debate. Come here, man.
Guess what? Good news. First good news is I'm here with you before you call it a night. Second good news is we have a brand new Joe Biden gaffe montage, which will premiere right after I show you a clip of tonight's highlights from where I'm preaching. Wellsburg, West Virginia. I'm here 2 more nights, Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m. And I'd love to have you join me. I got pizza coming, 11:35. Same as last night. It was so good, I'm going back to the same well. And just in case somebody pops on like last night and says, why don't you just preach the gospel? Here's me, what I was doing just about 2 hours ago. And it was a great night. We had a bunch of new people saved at the church. I'm guessing, I didn't get a chance to talk to them, but I think a lot of them hadn't been to church before, and like genuine first-time salvation. So before we get into the fun, here's some great things that God did tonight in Wellsburg, West Virginia. Roll it.
Call on God. You know what honors God? When you're in trouble, if you're in trouble, you can say, Father, I need your help, and I believe you can help me. I'm asking you help. And you will never find one place in the Bible where God turned down a call for mercy. I'm telling you, there's a lot of money to be made off of your drug addiction, off of your sickness, off of your poverty. But in this world, will be happy to make money off of you. But Jesus didn't come to make money off of you. He paid with his own blood to set you free from every trap and snare of the devil. If someone was blind, he opened the eyes of the blind. He unstopped the ears of the deaf. He made the lame to walk. He cleansed the leper. He preached to the poor. He touched the broken. He's a miracle-working God. And I have better news for you than that. Hebrews 13:8. Jesus Christ the same. Yesterday, today, and forever. You know what that means? Anybody ever, well, wouldn't it be great if Jesus was here now? He hasn't changed. So when you read what he did in the Bible, he's the same today.
I'll give you a chance to do something before we have some fun. This is the Minister's Topical Bible that has 105 things that you face in the ministry and scriptures that Mike Murdoch's father, who pastored 70 years, would use to encourage himself in those things. What do you do when your children become rebellious? What do you do when your salary seems inadequate? What do you do when you face an unexpected financial emergency? What do you do when you face burnout? What do you do when you don't feel inspired to minister? This is the Minister's Topical Bible, written from the wisdom of a minister who was a pastor for 70 years, just went to heaven a few years ago. And then it's all the scriptures he would use to encourage himself during those times. What do you need when you, what do you do when you need a financial miracle? You turn to number 75 and it's just a list of scriptures that he would use to build himself up in those times. What do you do when you face burnout? Job 14:7. For there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. So not only is this great for you, but if you don't have use for it, you could give it to your pastor as a very, very nice gift. So if you sow a seed of any size tonight to help us preach the gospel in West Virginia, on TV, feed 1,000 kids tomorrow, and everything else, I'm going to send this as a way of saying thank you, and pretty unique and rare gift, and it would be great to have for you. It definitely would be great to have for your pastor. You could give him as a gift. So hashtag donate. Hey, Christy in Hawaii. Marcus, good to see you back. Massachusetts. Ruth, Heaven Lee, Summer Hayes. I don't know any other preacher that preaches his heart out most of the day, goes to revival services and preaches his heart out, then gets on live late at night and continues to teach and preach. Thanks a lot. But I'm not really going to teach tonight. Just going to tell you about this, give you a chance to give, and then on to the fun. So I told you I'm going to get two things off my chest later in the broadcast. Thank you, Christy, all the way from Hawaii, getting the giving going. You can do Cash App, RT Give. You pop that up real quick, and then we'll get to the fun. It would feel good to go to sleep tonight knowing you're helping 1,000 kids eat in the morning. So thank you, Tyler. Oh, all the way from Canada, my friend. Good to see you. All right. As promised, here is a brand new Joe Biden gaffe montage. Roll it.
President Obama reportedly told Joe Biden directly, quote, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't."
That is not a joke. That is a natural fact.
Pause it real quick and we'll start it again.
Unsteady at many.
Bring it back to me. Yeah, you know, that's a real thing. That they caught President Obama when Joe Biden said he's going to run for president. You know, Obama's never endorsed him. And the thing Obama said when he heard he was going to run for president was, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't have to do it." So, you know, he was his vice president. He must have known he was losing it then and was trying to save him. But he didn't listen. And as you're going to see, there's a reason why President Obama said, "You don't have to do this, Joe." Instead of, "Oh, that's great. I'll help you any way I can." You don't have to do this, man. All right. Start it from scratch. And I haven't seen this yet. I'm looking forward to watching it with you. Let's go.
President Obama reportedly told Joe Biden directly, quote, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't."
That is not a joke. That is a natural fact.
I think Biden looked unsteady at many points.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone.
He's not the most polished speaker anymore.
The president thinks.
Can you back it up like 12 seconds?
Vermont thinks that.
Watching his
Biden looked unsteady at many points.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone.
He's not the most polished speaker anymore.
The president thinks, my friend from Vermont thinks that.
Watching his long, winding answers that don't really make sense in recent debates has also raised the question as to whether that has gotten worse and whether he is up for this.
The fact is that the bills that the future president here.
Because there's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling.
Go to Joe 30330.
Hold on, pause
kind
it.
Of unsteady and almost.
Bring it back like 10 seconds and keep it paused. It was supposed to be, that was the end of the debate, like your last message. You were supposed to say, text Joe to 30330 or whatever the number was. And he said, go to Joe. Of course, it's a step up from telling people to leave the record player on when they're at night. You know, I just picture his campaign manager with a clipboard backstage every night going like this. All right, go ahead. Roll it so I can hear the go to Joe 330.
The future president here.
Because there's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling.
Go to Joe 30330.
He looked kind of unsteady and almost deer in the headlights.
So what are we doing? What's going on right now?
He's not that good at this. I mean, he's clearly not that strong a candidate, thinking on his feet.
Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
I think there are some concerns, and they've been expressed by Democrats themselves.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Over whether Joe Biden is equipped to withstand a very grueling campaign.
We choose truth over facts.
Joe Biden was really shaky, both because he was stumbling through his answers.
I'm the vice president of the United States.
And also because the substance of those answers hasn't really gotten better.
Those details are irrelevant.
I think we're going to see growing questions, wondering if he has the mental and physical stamina to get through this campaign.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of beauty, and what a neat town.
Obama warned Biden's aides to make sure Biden didn't embarrass himself.
Imagine what would have happened if, God forbid, Barack Obama had been assassinated.
It's a real conversation that is happening among Democrats. Has he lost a step? Is he
lost a step?
I want to be clear.
You should be sitting in a diaper,
There are definitely
eating pudding.
moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
And again, we're not laughing at somebody's. Okay, we are laughing at someone's problem. Let's roll. Oh, yeah, get right into it, right? Yeah, I already did the. Jesus, start watching Joe Biden, your mind stops working. Go ahead with the next media. Let's check the news. Okay, Trump attacked 2 Supreme Court justices. Okay, this is a guy, Brian Fallon, liberal commentator. These are 2 tweets a week apart. He tweets, Trump attacked 2 Supreme Court justices this week. That would have made for a better question than asking about polls or electability. So when Trump attacks the Supreme Court, he gets mad. Now, Chuck Schumer did that today, as we're going to see, and this is what he tweets a week later. The conservatives on the court are politicians in robes, and Democrats are done pretending otherwise. Good for Schumer and telling it like it is. So it's fine when Schumer does it, not okay when Trump does it, as usual. Good to see you, Pastor Jeff, up in Connecticut. I'm always slow to greet people on this program because I don't know if anyone wants anyone to know they're watching it or not. Next piece of media. Okay, Chris Hall. Schumer made a direct threat against 2 sitting Supreme Court justices. That is a federal crime. Will AG Barr take this to trial? Of course he won't. Read the text below. Schumer made a direct threat against 2 sitting Supreme Court judges during a speech about the abortion case before the Supreme Court on Wednesday. Chuck Schumer threatened Supreme Court Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions. Okay, good enough. We'll move on. Next piece of media. I said, okay. Go ahead, next piece of media.
Today, start working
pause it.
on not touching your...
Okay, this is a lady. Now we're on. I know I'm going kind of fast because my heart's only like half in this tonight. But I do have a pizza coming in 7 minutes. Love that you want. Thanks for watching, Brother Dutton. Sorry that I'm dressed as a detective in 1998. This is a lady that's in charge of some type of the coronavirus response. And I haven't watched this yet, but I guess she says something that got a lot of traction, so I'll watch it with you. Go ahead.
Today, start working on not touching your face, because one main way viruses spread is when you touch your own mouth, nose, or eyes.
Man, it's like people are like trying to mess up. Please work on not touching your mouth, nose, or face, because that's how viruses are spread. Lick your finger. Play it again.
Today, start working on not touching your face, because one main way viruses spread is when you touch your own mouth, nose, or eyes.
So people licking their fingers. I had a teacher in grade school that used to do that every time to turn the page. It's like, it should be like a night in prison if you do that in public. Next.
This past year, I realized, my, are they obsessed with our bodies, how we talk, how we look, what we stand for? I mean, this type of policing of our bodies is so interconnected to all the social justice movements all around the country. I represent the third poorest congressional district in the country. This issue is an economic justice issue. This issue is a racial justice issue. And let me tell you, this obsession with our bodies. You know, I in the legislature, in the Michigan legislature for 6 years, used to say to people, yo, you know what? You're so freaking obsessed with what I decide to do with my body. Maybe you shouldn't even want to have sex with me or with you.
Check.
Or with any women. The power that we have
I'm one step ahead of you.
our bodies to push back and use that power and saying enough is enough. We won't stand by for you to commercialize, for you to profit, for you to do all the things you do to what? To make us less than in this country. Because that's what it does. So I want you to know there is more of us than them. There are more of...
I don't think there's more of you. There's like 9 people there and a poorly made banner. Number one, I don't care what you do with your body. It's the other body that's in you that we protect when we believe in pro-life. And then number two, you can't have it both ways. You can't say what I do with my body is up to me and then make me pay for it. So if it's coming out of our taxes, which it does, then we have a right to say, and I do agree with the not having sex with you part. Next piece of media.
You know, I watch Biden try and criticize us, but I'm not sure he knows what he's criticizing, to be honest with you.
Trump responded to Biden's criticism of him by basically implying that he's senile. You know, it's looking... How could you sleep at night if you were running for the Democrat nomination for president and you lost to Joe Biden? Like you saw Cory Booker saying, you know, there's serious questions about whether he has the ability to carry the football all the way through the end zone. You lost. Mike, I mean, how? You lost it to a guy that's functioning at like 20% capacity, whose eye can fill with blood at any time, who sometimes gives speeches facing the backdrop instead of the people. And you lost. That's what you have. Now, when this guy has to stand and debate Trump, I'm telling you right now, like, do you think Trump's not going to bring up the fact that he's senile? And then do you think before the hour debate's over, Biden's not going to do something to prove that he's senile? And then Trump say, case in point? And then it's going to become apparent to the entire American people that you're basically watching one man with a spray tan debate another man who is not all there, who should be wearing a diaper, eating pudding, watching Jeopardy, being tucked in with like a state-issued Snuggie. So anyway, Trump's already bringing it up on TV, like basically saying that he's senile. So roll that one again.
You know, I watch Biden try and criticize us, but I'm not sure he knows what he's criticizing, to be honest with you.
There's Trump being Trump. Next piece of media.
There's an investigation officially in the country of Ukraine as it relates to Joe Biden, who said you got 6 hours, you're not getting the $1 billion unless you fire the prosecutor investigating my zero experience son Hunter being paid millions. After all you went through, and now that you see Ron Johnson in the Senate and you see Ukraine investigating this issue, and then the other countries such as China that Peter Schweitz writes about in great detail, that Hunter, again, no experience, making tons of money. It has to be a campaign issue.
How long is this one,
Rob? How do you plan
Rob?
to use it, or do you plan to use it?
Well, to show you how crazy it is, it's not a campaign issue for the Democrats. They don't want to bring it up. They were obviously told you can't bring that up. So even people that are against, if you look at Joe, they're against Joe. They don't want to bring that up. That was off bounds. I watch certain reporters say that this is totally unsubstantiated, and we're sorry to even ask you a question. Anderson Cooper. Then he asks a question at one of the debates, and it was so mild, and a ridiculous answer is given because there is no answer to it. Of course, it's corrupt. And so he gives a really bad answer, and they go into the next question. Nobody says anything. The other people that are running, trying to beat him, don't bring it up. That wouldn't happen with the Republicans, I can tell you. I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, but that certainly wouldn't happen with the Republicans. And, it's incredible. That will be a major issue in the campaign. I will bring that up all the time because I don't see any way out. I don't see any way out. For them, I don't see how they can answer those questions. And maybe they can. I hope they can. I'd actually prefer it that they can, but I don't believe they'll be able to answer those questions. That was purely corrupt.
I'm telling you, these debates are going to be like Foreman. Oh, HJ. $100 contribution. I'll send you the Minister's Topical Bible, which doesn't have anything about Joe Biden or President Trump in it, but it'll help you nonetheless. These debates, if Biden ends up taking the Democrat nomination, Trump and Biden debates will be like Foreman, Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, like better than those. It's going to be phenomenal because you heard now Trump's going to bring up all the corruption with his son, which the Democrats must have had like, go ahead, put it right here. Must have had some kind of closed door agreement to not do. I don't know if Caliente Pizza wants to be associated with me or not, but I would like to just say a thank you for their great pizza, which of course I paid for. But hey, so try one of these wings, Nick. Try it. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
These look spicy though.
I got them different temperatures. Not too hot?
No, it's hot. But it's like good.
It's called Cry to Mommy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? It's kicking in.
Oh yeah.
Courtney? Go on. Kicking in?
I'm not scared. I'll try it.
Here, come on camera.
You want to try it on camera? I went up my nose before. Oh my god.
No, stay here.
I didn't even chew it.
That's terrible.
Oh, it takes your breath away.
It smells like mace.
It's like when you get really strong minty gum and you can't breathe. And I took the tiniest little. I don't want it.
Well, there you go. Here's you can take these back to the guys. These ones are regular heat. One bone, one boneless. If anybody else want to try the hot ones on camera? All right, Rami.
Man, I can smell them from right here.
Our producer, Ram, everybody.
Is this boneless?
Boneless, yeah. I believe so. They're boneless, right? Boneless, Nick?
I have no idea. These don't even have flavor on them. Oh my god.
It's good to have right before bed. Sarah?
It's worse too.
I thought they would at least have some flavor.
It caved to peer pressure.
That's fine.
Yes.
Is anybody in shape to be able to run stuff? You can do the next piece of media.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
You can take that to the bank.
You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
So there's Schumer threatening the Supreme Court justice. Never a good idea. Next piece of media.
One strategy is to shadow ban.
Oh, pause it real quick.
You have ultimate control.
You can bring it back to me. Okay, this is a guy that if you don't know who he is, you guys have the hand sanitizer?
Yeah.
Not because I'm afraid of coronavirus, but because of the slobs that I work with in this studio. Anyway, if you don't know who this guy is, oh, thanks. If you don't know who this guy is, James O'Keefe. He's an independent journalist. And he, we have to sing happy birthday 2 times while you rub your hands for it to be enough or something like that. He got a bunch of people from Twitter and CNN and a bunch of different places, like on film and audio without knowing that they're on film or audio. So this is one of the higher up executives in Twitter, and listen to what he has to say on undercover video from James O'Keefe. Go ahead.
One strategy is to shadow ban so that you have ultimate control. The idea of a shadow ban is that you ban someone, but they don't know they've been banned because they keep posting, but no one sees their content. So they just think that no one's engaging with their content, when in reality no one's seeing it. You just sort of turn off all of the features for them. So like, they still see everything, it's all there. You can like it, you can favorite it, or you can like retweet or whatever. But at the end of the day, no one else interacts with no one else sees what you're doing. So all that data is just thrown away. It's risky though. Why is it risky? Because people will figure that shit out and be like, you know, it's a lot of bad press if like, you know, people figure out that you're shadow banning them. It's like unethical in some way, you know. So I don't know. In the past, people have been really, really pissed off about that, and even people who haven't been shadow banned have called it like a really terrible thing to do.
That'll help.
So yeah, it's a risky strategy.
And so you go ahead and keep on tweeting.
Yeah.
And you've been banned and don't even know it.
Yeah. I definitely know Reddit does this, but I don't know if Twitter.
Courtney's so like out of breath from the hot sauce, she could barely count down the video to me. So people thought that shadow banning was a thing, but now former software engineer from Twitter, will not try to pronounce the name, said it's true. They shadow ban people where you have 100,000 followers, but by their algorithm, they won't let it reach anybody. Somebody asked what kind of pizza this is. It's called the Steak Ranchero Pizza at Caliente, who's won the World Pizza Championship in Italy 2 different times. And it's steak, some type of steak sauce, sharp cheddar cheese, and it's really good. So, sorry to eat on air, but it's kind of like a, you know, kind of informal, just before bed show. Next, how many more pieces of media do we have?
3.
Next piece of media.
We're trying to get the shitty people not to go off. It's a product thing.
let's say it was a pro-Trump thing, and I am anti-Trump. I was like, oh, I banned this whole account. It'll go to you, and then it's at your discretion. And if you're anti-Trump, you're like, oh, you know what, Mo was right. Let it go.
The idea of the shadow ban is that you ban someone, but they don't know they've been banned because they keep posting, but no one sees their content. So they just think that no one's engaging with their content, when in reality no one's seeing it. I don't know if Twitter does this anymore.
How do you know if it's a bot and not a normal person?
Use machine learning. Look for Trump or America, and you have like 5,000 like keywords to describe a redneck, and then you look and you like parse all the messages, all like the pictures, and then you look for like stuff that matches like that stuff.
So is it gonna like essentially ban certain mindsets and or people who could be negative?
No, it's not gonna ban the mindset. It's gonna ban like the way of talking.
Our last video exposed Twitter's eagerness to turn over President Trump's direct messages to the Justice Department. We think today's release will help you understand why. Because although Twitter presents itself as politically neutral, its culture behind closed doors is one of blatant censorship, systematic bias, and political targeting. While many suspected this was the case, today we present the proof out of their own Twitter mouths.
So if you said that Twitter tried to silence conservatives and stuff, you would be mocked, and then he had undercover people go to executives and software engineers and let you know that it's an absolute fact. I mean, that's some scary stuff those people were saying. Are you trying to ban a way of thinking? No, but we're going to try to ban a way of talking. Next piece of media.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to
pause it real quick.
That we should be.
Joe Biden, a few years back when he still had his mental faculties, you know the stuff they were trying to get Trump on? The quid pro quo, that he was making the Ukraine do something and withholding money if he didn't do it. You know, it is amazing to me. The deep state thing must be real, especially on the judicial end, because if you're a Democrat, you can literally do anything. The governor of Virginia right now was either in blackface or a Ku Klux Klan outfit, and he never missed a beat. No pressure. So Trump, they investigate him for, it was that bad? You got milk?
I got some in my eye by accident.
Oh, you got some in your eye.
Yeah, I need milk.
But then, like, if you're a conservative, you do one thing, the pressure's thrown on you. So this is Joe Biden bragging in a filmed interview of how he told the Ukrainian government that if they don't fire a certain prosecutor, then he's not going to give them the money that was allocated to him, which is exactly what Trump was being investigated for. Nothing happens. That's why anytime I read, like Chuck Schumer threatening the Supreme Court justices today, and people say, well, we'll see if AG Barr doesn't. Nothing's going to happen. If you're a Democrat, you could appear tomorrow dressed as a Ku Klux Klan member with your wife next to you in blackface, and you won't miss a beat. Total double standard. So anyway, here's Joe Biden doing exactly what they were trying to investigate Trump for. Go ahead.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money.
If the prosecutor's not fired, well, SOB, they fired him.
And put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well,
and nothing happens because the Republican Party is weak. And they're all riding Trump's coattails now, but none of them wanted him to get in. 72 people, 72 private jets flew in for a private meeting, Republican and Democrats, to figure out how to stop Trump from winning the election back in 2015 or early 2016. Thank God we got somebody outside the system. Next piece of media. Self-explanatory. How many more we have left before? Before Austin? Okay. So before we roll the next one, you can bring it back to me. Now, before we call it a night, I'm going to get two things off my chest. This is a guy who did really well. Some of you remember there used to be a platform called Vine that would do like 7-second looping videos, right? Might be wrong on the seconds. But he had a massive following on there. Then they shut Vine down all of a sudden, and he parlayed it over to Instagram and Instagram stories. Very funny. His name's Austin Jeter. Did I pronounce it right? But not like Derek Jeter. It's Geter. It's a good guy to follow. He's a Christian. He actually helped me at our first Festival of Life that we did, Crusade in Philadelphia. So he put something on his Instagram story that I'll let you decide whether you think it's funny or not. I won't tell you what's funny, but then I'm going to tell you what the reaction to it was, and then I'm going to tell you my reaction to it, which is harsh because I hate this kind of stuff. Not the video, the reaction to it. Here's the video. Enjoy or don't enjoy. Oh, pause real quick. We'll start over. What did he title it? When you have hunger for Chinese food, but then you remember there's coronavirus, something like that? Yeah, okay. So that's the title of it. When you're hungry for Chinese food, but you remember there's coronavirus. He might have worded it better, but you get the idea. Go ahead. Okay, you think it's funny or you don't think it's funny? I thought it was funny. I think our staff thought it was funny. But then, what do you think people wrote in the comments? This is racist. You need to take this down. This is what I want to say to all the social media patrollers that are the judge of what's funny and what's not funny. You need to take this down. First of all, if we listened to you and what we should take down and not joke about, like that guy that was on here last night, stop talking about politics, making jokes, and just preach. You know, there is a place in life for humor. If you listen to all these people, you could never make a joke about anything. Life would be about as funny as the waiting room at a child cancer unit. Oh, don't joke about that. What do you mean don't joke about it? Then you write, how can you joke about that when people are dying? He's not joking about people dying. He's joking about if you want to eat Chinese food right now, a joke. It's a joke. You know, if you don't like a joke, then move along. Go to somebody else's page. You don't have to try to get the comedian given the death penalty because you don't think something's funny. Secondly, you had people write, that's racist. A couple thoughts on that. Chinese food, was he making fun of Chinese people? Which, first of all, even if you're making fun of Chinese people, that's not racist. Racism is the belief that one race is superior to another. It's not saying the word black. The way people think now, let me ask you something. If you see a crime being committed and you call the police, how would you even say anything to the police officer? Can you describe the suspect? I mean, you can't say I don't want to assume what gender the suspect is, and I don't want to describe him based on his skin tone. And okay, so people make 911 calls. They must not even know what to say. It's not racist to use the word Chinese. It's not racist to say black. It's racist to think that one race is superior to another race, which nobody with a brain can believe that one race is superior. We'll put it this way. Nobody that's been to Walmart after 1 a.m. can believe that one race is superior to another. Because if you go, you realize that every race has serious lowlights in pajama pants. So this whole thing that you got to walk on eggshells. I don't want to sound like an old man because even though I'm dressed like one, I'm not one. There is nothing that's funny anymore. Because nothing can be funny. You make a joke about anything other than Christians and people flip out. And again, I want to say as a Christian, don't lecture me about what's offensive, because one of our 10 commandments is don't take the Lord's name in vain. And what can you watch on TV where they're not only taking the Lord's name in vain, but mixing it in with F words? Do I write a letter to every company? No. You change the channel. I don't try to get people's careers ended and all that. So that you just watch that video. Play the video one more time. Again, the title is When You're Hungry for Chinese Food, but you remember there's a coronavirus. Roll it one more time. Somebody wrote that it's worse in South Africa. And then Rob wrote, people are easily offended and have absolutely no... Oh, by the way, Rob, nice to see you from Saskatchewan. People are easily offended and have absolutely no sense of humor. The thing is, I don't believe they're offended. I don't believe anybody could watch that and actually get offended. You know what I believe? I believe people are trained subconsciously by the media and social media, and then in public school about what you're supposed to be offended about. And so they actually look for things that they know they're allowed to say they're offended about to lecture other people, to try to make yourself seem like you're morally superior. There is no way that anyone could convince me that that's offensive. And I'll tell you another thing. I heard someone state this as their rule. Actually, I can't remember who I heard state it, but I agree. Let's say I make a joke about somebody and somebody says, that's offensive, you should apologize. I don't have to apologize to you. Now, if that person contacted me and told me that they were offended and it really hurt them, I would apologize to that person. But I don't owe an apology to a bunch of random Facebook and Twitter accounts because you thought a joke was offensive. Kiss off. Who do you think you are that people owe you an apology for a joke made about something that has nothing to do with you? Well, that's racist. Chinese food's not a race. Well, there's people dying from the coronavirus. Was his joke about people dying about coronavirus? Or was it a joke about eating Chinese food in this climate when people are concerned about the virus? Give me a break. And I'm not one. I got enough battles to fight on my own than to get involved in other people's battles. But every once in a while, I can't resist. So I'm on his Instagram page, and somebody writes to him, that's racist. And I wrote back, that's correct. Because there's nothing more deeply held by Chinese tradition and Chinese people than Panda Express. What do you think? Panda Express is like a Chinese woven into the tapestry of Chinese culture from the 14th century. It's an American-owned Chinese fast food chain. It's not a race. Chinese people don't know it exists. They don't care about it. I said I was going to get 2 things off my chest, but maybe one's enough. I'll save the other for another day. Just because your feelings are hurt doesn't mean you're superior and doesn't mean anybody owes you an apology. Well, I'm offended. Are you over the age of 6? Then get over it. How do you read something and get offended? You know, grow up. There is nothing I could read on Twitter, and I'm saying this from somebody who has people write some mean stuff to him on a daily basis almost. I don't get offended. How do I even know it's a real account? Who cares? Insults are differences of opinion harshly expressed, and people have a right to a difference of opinion. You don't think something's funny? Fine. That doesn't mean it's not funny. That's not funny. Who says who? The humor police? It's basically gotten to the point. You can say something, not even against homosexuality. You can just bring up homosexuality in church. And Christians tense up. I don't think you're supposed to talk about that. People have been subliminally trained to censor themselves and to at least feign offense. And I'm on a one-man revolution tonight to get people to be unoffended and start joking around again like it's the 90s. Back in olden days when I was born, where you could joke around without getting sued and taken out of life. Banned from Twitter, banned from Facebook, banned from YouTube. You know, just like they did in the, was it 1984, where you unperson someone. They just don't exist anymore. Screw that. Let me tell you something. One of the great secrets of life is to learn to laugh at yourself. But a greater secret in life is to learn to laugh at others. And with that, I bid you a good night as we watch the new Joe Biden montage of him losing his mind on national television. As we watch the slow unwinding of candidate Joe Biden together, I just want to say, we love you. We're praying for you. We hope you have a peaceful night's sleep. For myself and everybody here whose mouths are on fire in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I really love you. See you, Kofi, 6:30 to 7:30, me at 11. Adios. Hello, let's watch Mr. Biden.
President Obama reportedly told Joe Biden directly, quote, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't."
That is not a joke. That is a natural fact.
I think Biden looked unsteady at many points.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone.
He's not the most polished speaker anymore.
The president my friend from Vermont thinks that.
Watching his long, winding answers that don't really make sense in recent debates has also raised the question as to whether that has gotten worse and whether he is up for this.
The fact is that the bills that the future president here.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling.
Go to Joe 30330.
He looked kind of unsteady and almost deer in the headlights.
So what are we doing? What's going on right now?
He's not that good at this. I mean, he's clearly not that strong a candidate, thinking on his feet.
Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
I think there are some concerns, and they've been expressed by Democrats themselves.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Over whether Joe Biden is equipped to withstand a very grueling campaign.
We choose truth over facts.
Joe Biden was really shaky, both because he was stumbling through his answers.
I'm the Vice President of the United States.
And also because the substance of those answers hasn't really gotten better.
Those details are irrelevant.
I think we're going to see growing questions, wondering if he has the mental and physical stamina to get through this campaign.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it, and what a neat town.
Obama warned Biden's aides to make sure Biden didn't embarrass himself.
Imagine what would have happened if, God forbid, Barack Obama had been assassinated.
It's a real conversation that is happening among Democrats. Has he lost a step? Is he too shaky?
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.